Let's get started. To start out these amazing sandwiches, you are going to want to use a ribeye roast. Ribeye is cut from the same muscle that prime rib is cut from, so it's not cheap, but the flavor is a 9 out of 10. Pat your roast dry. This will help the herbs to stick to the roast a little bit better and help develop that nice crust. Next, take some butcher's twine and tie up the roast. There are 2 main reasons for tying a roast or any other piece of meat. The first one is because when it's cooked, the meat will expand while heat brings out its juices. Tying it up keeps it from spreading out, losing that nice round shape. It also keeps it nice and tight, so the juices are more prone to staying inside instead of running out. The second reason for tying your meat is for stuffing. If you were to butterfly this roast, fill it, and roll it up, you would need to tie it to keep everything from falling out. In a small bowl, combine 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of black pepper, half a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of thyme, and half a teaspoon of rosemary. Sprinkle the seasoning mix liberally over the beef and then rub it all over the surface and in the cracks. Remember that this will be roasted and sliced very thin, so every slice of meat will only get a small rim of flavor around the edges. You cannot over-season this roast. Once the roast is fully seasoned, place the roast in a roasting pan. Or here I am using a cooling rack placed in a sheet pan. If you don't have either, you can roll up some aluminum foil and place the meat on top of the foil. Or you can place the meat on top of some vegetables. Either way, you just want the roast to have air circulation all around the roast and not sitting in the fat and the juice drippings. This will give the roast a nice crust all the way around. I can't tell you how long to cook your roast, but I can tell you to purchase a meat thermometer. Since cooking with a thermometer, my meat has improved 100%. I have this thermometer that is used for everyday use and when I need to quickly get a temperature. It fits perfectly in my drawer and I use it all the time. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to purchase it. This thermometer is perfect for grilling or baking in the oven. It has this long cord, so I can keep it in the meat and always know what the temperature is. I am cooking this roast at a low temperature because I want to keep in as much of the juice in the roast as I can. I won't open the oven until my thermometer reaches 120 degrees for a medium rare. If you like it less pink, pull it out at 135 degrees for medium. Just whatever you do, do not overcook your ribeye. That would be a very sad day. This 3.8-pound roast took just over 3 hours to get to 120 degrees. Remove the roast from the oven, cover it, and let it rest for at least 30 minutes and up to an hour and a half, which is what I did. I want to show you here that because I cooked the meat at a low temperature, not 1 drop of juice came out of the roast. This pan was bone dry. This is great because that means the roast will be juicy. In preparation for our jus, peel and slice 2 onions. In a pan over medium-high heat, add some oil. Once hot, add in the onions and garlic. Stir and cook until the onions are soft and golden, about 5 to 10 minutes. Add in 1 cup of beef broth, 1 can of beef consommé, 1 whole packet of French onion soup mix, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1/4 of a cup of dry sherry or white wine, and 1 cup of water. Bring to a boil, then reduce to a simmer and cook for 45 minutes, stirring occasionally. After the 45 minutes, strain the jus through a fine mesh strainer and using a spoon, squeeze out as much of the liquid from the onions as you can. This just adds extra love to your jus. Save the jus and onions. Both will be used for the sandwich. After the roast has rested, place it back into a 500-degree oven for about 10 minutes. This will give the roast that nice, beautiful char and delicious crust. As you can see on my cutting board, that is all of the juice the roast lost during this entire process. This roast is going to be so yummy. After the 10 minutes, place the roast on a cutting board and remove the butcher's twine. Because we already let the roast rest, we don't need to let it rest again. We can go ahead and slice away. Slice the roast as thin as you can, making it easier to eat on the sandwich. My husband and I like our roast to be a little more medium rare, but if you like it less pink, just cook the roast a little bit longer or place the sliced meat in the jus and let it cook for a few minutes. I'm not kidding when I say this roast was literally perfect in every way. So much flavor, it was tender, juicy, and it was so fun to make. I really recommend getting a thermometer so you can enjoy this process as much as I did. For the sandwich, use either some crusty deli rolls or a sub roll. Spread butter on both sides of the roll and toast under the broiler for just a minute or two, just to get them lightly toasted. On one half of the roll, layer with sliced meat, followed by those amazing braised onions, topped with some provolone or Gruyere cheese. Place back under the broiler for a few minutes to melt the cheese. Pour some of the jus into a bowl. Slice that bad boy up and dip away. This is by far the best French dip sandwich I have ever had. I love the history of this sandwich because it came to be all by accident. In 1918, a man by the name of Philippe Mathieu owned a restaurant called Philippe, the Original, in Los Angeles. Philippe was preparing a sandwich for a policeman and accidentally dropped the sliced French roll into the drippings of a roasting pan. The policeman liked the sandwich and came back the next day with some friends to order the sandwich dipped in the meat pan. From that day on, a new sandwich was born. Every year, my family has French dip sandwiches for Christmas dinner. I love hearing about different traditions families have. In the comments below, tell me, what do you have for dinner on Christmas? Remember to subscribe and hit the bell so together we can strengthen our families through food.